Good afternoon. Welcome to our Midday Mull for Wednesday, the 1st of July. As I was reading through Isaiah, some verses leapt out at me, which I didn't like the verses, so I thought I'll gloss over them, and hopefully something in Matthew will be better, and the same idea presented there. So let me read the verses to you from the beginning of Isaiah chapter 63. Isaiah writes, "Who is this coming from Edom, from Bozrah with his garments stained crimson? Who is this, robed in splendor, striding forward in the greatness of his strength?" And the response, "It is I, speaking in righteousness, mighty to save." And the questioning continues, "Why are your garments red, like those of one treading the winepress?" The answer is then, "I have trodden the winepress alone. From the nations no one was with me. I trampled them in my anger and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garment, and I stained all my clothing. For the day of vengeance was in my heart, and the year of my redemption has come." And a rather unpleasant picture of judgment and blood-stained garments because of judgment. And yet people will sometimes say, "Oh, that's the Old Testament judgmental God. I believe in the New Testament loving God." But New Testament, Matthew chapter 11, Jesus says the following. Matthew records, Then Jesus began to denounce the cities in which most of his miracles had been performed, because they did not repent. "Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! If the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted up to the skies? No, you will go down to the depths. If the miracles that were performed in you had been performed in Sodom, it would have repented and remained to this day. But I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom on the day of judgment than for you." And the truth is that some of the most graphic and unpleasant passages about judgment and hell are spoken by Jesus. So we can't have this New Testament, Old Testament dichotomy. And indeed, the minute you start doing that and you start taking away some of the picture, you lose out overall, because we talk about Jesus coming to save us. Save us from what? Save us from the judgment that is the consequence of our sin. We talk about God being righteous, but if he's righteous, he cannot tolerate evil, and evil has to be dealt with in some way. And if evil is just glossed over, then God is diminished. And if there is no real consequence to the evil we've done, then salvation is pointless. And so we need this whole picture of God. Complex as it is, unpleasant as it may sound to our 21st century ears, but we start messing with it at our peril, because we lose more than just the single image. It's this whole set of dominoes, and you take one out and the dominoes just fall, and you end up losing so much more. So wrestle with these images of God and his judgment, but also God in his grace. That without the judgment, grace would be meaningless. But that is the good news, that sin and evil will be judged and condemned. But the evil we commit, the evil that is part of us, God in his love offers us salvation, offers us a relationship with Jesus, offers to take the sin from us and give us his righteousness, offers all of this to us. That is the good news. That's what we have to share with people. So wrestle with it, work it out in your own head, and recognize this complex God that we worship, this God of justice, but also of love. Be blessed.